This is Fragpunk. We're here on Xbox Series S. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So this is currently in a early access kind of preview state. And yeah, the Series X version, where I spent most of my time, is definitely, I'd say, in a bit better of a condition in comparison to the Series S. Gameplay-wise, mostly because it doesn't have the giant, scary black abyss bars that appear over some of the maps. So, this is, to me, a really fun free-to-play hero shooter, but it's kind of like Counter-Strike. So it's Counter-Strike, more maybe a little bit more Valorant, but fun. So it's got like a card-based system in it where you kind of put points into the cards every round, akin to Back 4 Blood, and you essentially get these like ability type things. So, for example, if your team puts money points into this card, your team can run faster this round. Or maybe there's a blizzard and you can slide around, doing like the crouch slide. Or maybe there's one where the enemy team large heads, easy to shoot. Or something like big grass to hide in. All kinds of different things. There's something like over 70 different cards that are present within the game that allow you to really greatly change up the, I guess you would say, world, the visuals, and the gameplay techniques that are present here in terms of the combat and everything like that, which is rather interesting. Like, I do find that the card system really makes this quite intriguing. And that's where I say, like, Valorant was kind of okay, but I didn't really find it very fun, whereas this is actually kind of fun to play for me, at least on the Series X side of things. On the Series S side of things, I don't really understand the graphical black bar things everywhere. I don't know, maybe it's certain situations or card-based things. As I said, it's like a beta type thing, right? So it's something that is in development, it's something that they're working on, and something that they are going to be improving towards the full release of the game, which I think is, well, kind of expected and great. So yeah, you play across a few different rounds, and if the game ties, you actually end up in a bit of a duel thing, as to say. And that is like you get one life each, and you kind of basically do a duel back and forth, which is really, really cool. And I thought that aspect of it was really intriguing, just sort of how the combat sort of lines up gameplay-wise as you go back and forth, kind of playing, trying to win the rounds. High damage, precision is important, but at the same time it's kind of fun and quirky because you have the different hero abilities in that. Like, there's actually a lot of depth and layering to this game. I'm glad the black bar thing is kind of gone this round. That's kind of good that that isn't present here again. So it must have been just kind of like a one-off thing due to some sort of situation and whatnot. Yeah, which was really funny to start with that sort of thing. So what are we getting here on the Series S? Well, this is looking like it's a dynamic 1080p, and they are targeting, well over 100, like 120 FPS, and it seems like it's uncapped and kind of going over, which doesn't really matter because the Xbox's output is only, 120 FPS. So that's kind of the high frame rate there. It is, I've noticed, really screen tearing on the Series S. Compared to, well, the Series X version actually runs quite decent and good looking, and I do have a video of that up on the channel, so it does look like they are attempting to hit the 120 FPS mark, and while the frame rate number, at least the internal counter, is higher, yeah, I do think they need to kind of clean up some of the things here or there on the Series S, but it does seem like they're actually getting closer towards their goal. Because it does have leg fluidity, but there's, the screen tearing and stuff. But as I noted, this is obviously on the Insider program, so it is something that is going to change over time towards like the full release, and it's just like little test betas they've been doing. Like, I covered the alpha on PC only back when it was first available a few months ago, and when I saw those pop up on the console, I was like, oh yeah, awesome, can't wait to check this out, because again, it's genuinely quite a lot of fun to play. And again, this is a Counter-Strike-like game. You know, you're going in, you're trying to plant the objective or disarm the objective. It's round-based, you got a life per round. It can be pretty intense and strategic and complicated. And I think it's, to me, rather interesting gameplay-wise, because I think that it does offer something that is unique and different for me. And I love how every single round of the game is completely different every time you play it. And I think that is, to me, rather special and fun. It's just the fact that, like, every single time I go to play this game, I know that the results and the setup are going to be completely different. If they're doing a more competitive ranked type thing, I do think that they're going to have to limit cards that are just cards so that, you know, it doesn't have silly things. Like, double jumping is a lot of fun, and it's like a fun little weird thing. But I don't know if in the competitive setting they'd be like, hey, that person's double jumping, and just something to keep in mind gameplay-wise. But no, I genuinely do have a lot of fun playing this. Like, I think the gunplay is kind of neat. It sort of reminds me, combat-wise, of, like, Apex Legends or, like, Titanfall in terms of how the guns kind of look and feel. And then the gameplay is definitely more like traditional Counter-Strike, where, you know, you make noise if you're running around, you gotta move and have precise shots and gameplay, you know, sort of focus and stuff. But no, I think it's really, really quite interesting. The snipers are a little ridiculous, honestly. And it's got, like, a great level of variation to it, too, in terms of having, like, a great selection of different maps. That wasn't even, like, really... That was aimed to the right of my character. That's ridiculous. Sorry, again, the snipers kind of drive me a little crazy. But, yeah, a good selection of maps, and the maps have different environments, and it's kind of cool. Like, there's an Egyptian level. And then when you have, like, the snow ability with the sliding and stuff, and then you see the sand map become all snow-like, it's kind of cool. Like, it looks neat, it plays a little bit differently. And the maps, they have, like, a good selection of variation within them. Some of them a little bit larger, a lot of them kind of tight, linear paths and setup. It's really quite neat from a gameplay concept and scenario, too, as you try to, like, learn the map layouts and the best way to kind of move through them and the most strategic paths to take. And, again, the sniper's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But no, it's cool, and just those variations within the maps, the fact that there's a good number of them, it does seem to keep the gameplay loop pretty fun and exciting and different every time you go about it. And I think that in itself is kind of fun because it's weird and different, and the challenge of it is just unique because you're not sure the sort of cards you're gonna get and how that'll impact the map, and the sort of cards the other team will get, and how that will impact the map. And whether you're attacking, or whether you're defending, or whether there's like a third attack defense point, or, you know, attack defense point's been removed, or something like that, is really quite cool. And then on top of that, you can go on the maps, and there might be like a little spot that you can kind of like smash this little icon, and you might get like an extra shard to use to buy between rounds. Or maybe it'll be a health thing, which can be really helpful if you've taken damage and survived. Like, there's just a lot of, again, really like layers to it gameplay-wise. It just feels like something where the gameplay loop can be dynamic every single time you go at it. And that in itself, to me, is quite fun, that it's just going to be a different sort of battle every time, because that just keeps games fresh and distinct. Oh, and then I got sniped again from behind. Again, the snipers are just... I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of skill involved in the snipers. Like, I've seen some people just, like, mow down teams with the sniper rifle, and it's like you can't even do anything. Like, I feel like there's a lot more, like, skill involved in sniping on, say, Counter-Strike than there does seem to be in this. Like, it feels like it's generous in terms of taking out opponents and stuff like that, which drives me a little crazy. Yeah, shopping indeed. Probably want the replenish skills, I would imagine. Put some tokens in on there, see if anyone else does. We're gonna have to start rocking the shotgun and maybe the blaster thing. I also love the idea that, like, you know, you have set characters, so, like, you know, one hero, but then there's a card where everybody, like, you can play the multiple heroes, and yeah, that in itself is kind of neat. And then on top of that, you know, you can use like one gun, and you can't use the gun unless you're like successful with the gun, and it sort of promotes this element of like actually having to be effective with weapons and surviving with weapons. And I think that in itself is kind of cool, and I like the gunplay and the movement and the style of it. I do wish that our team was a little bit better, but you know, you kind of get what you get for matches and stuff, right? Some players are going to be effective, some not really so much. And it's just kind of like a fun grab bag of like, you're never really sure whether your team is going to like be really effective and get the job done, or they're not, or what kind of crazy abilities and skills are going to come into play. And just every single variation of it is completely different. And again, like for me, it's just like a lot of fun to play this game. Like it's genuinely an enjoyable experience that I think has like a good mix of combat scenarios and setups, and yeah, it's just sort of neat. Like I love the challenge of every scenario being a little bit different, and the back and forth of it, and they just have fun with it. That's the biggest thing here, is it's just like quite a lot of fun to play. Every round, a different challenge, every setup, a different scenario. And then you get to those duels, and it's like, it's pretty intense too, because you got your different lives, and you might survive one round, and then you have half the health for the next round. It's a little crazy. Anyways, we got absolutely destroyed, so we'll just jump into another match here. So I'm hoping this round goes a little bit better for our squad. Oh, and they added the slot machine thing, which I don't really quite understand what they're going for with it, but interesting nonetheless. Yeah, so this map, a little bit different dynamics, a little bit different setup. I kind of like the style and the scope here, and as I kind of mentioned, I do really like the map layouts, and that there is a good selection of them. Somebody stole my class, so I'm gonna have to, I guess you would say, play as another option. Wow, they actually closed the door here. That doesn't happen too often. Let's just open this up. Oh, jeez. Okay, was not expecting someone right off the bat there. Oh, that was their survival thing to lose, for sure. And looks like none of my teammates came this way, which is not ideal for me. And then you get this cool teleporting ability. And that's where I think like every character has like a little bit of a different style to them, a little bit of a different set of abilities. And that can really make or break the big difference between different match setups is, you know, your abilities, your skills, what you're going to be able to do, what you're not going to be able to do, and what you're going to be going up against. It's just this sort of never-ending selection of randomness. And if they really want to make things different, they can literally just pump out a game update and add a new card. And you've essentially completely changed up the gameplay concept, because you're going from, you know, having this sort of one card ability and then having a brand new card and having the player base coming up with new ways to like counter it or deal with it or change how they interact with stuff. And I think they've just got something kind of fun and special here and distinct. I think that's the biggest thing that kind of sets this aside from like the other shooter games like this. You know, because you'd be like, oh, a hero shooter or something, but like it very much is different. It is unique from other titles. It's something that's akin to the Counter-Strike type of gameplay, but it actually aims to provide something different and unique alongside that. I'd rather do this one. There we go. I don't think we need Misty B-side. That doesn't really help us. You gotta make, you know, pick the cards, recycle the cards if you want to have a different option. And yeah, it's just something that does distinctly, again, set it aside from the other games out there that exist like this. And then on top of that, I think the characters are kind of quirky and fun, and we've got like an aesthetically pleasing kind of vibe and style to them, and really fun announcer too. I actually really like the announcer in this one. I get like a good chuckle out of it. And I think the game doesn't look too bad. I do think it's a little rougher on the Series S side of things. Like when I was covering the Series X, I didn't really think about the Series S as much. But yeah, I'm assuming that's where a lot of the optimization work is having to be done, is getting the Series S side of things to a like a better standard. Because yeah, obviously this console is always a problem for devs and stuff, which is kind of funny. I always get these players that aren't playing. It's like, what are you doing? It's, you know, the matches, they're quick and, you know, fast paced and stuff like that, and they don't take very long, which is actually really appreciate the fact that you're kind of in and out, and the matches just kind of go by quickly, which is great. Like there's a good set of like pacing to this game, which I really do quite appreciate in comparison to, well, I guess you would say other titles and stuff like that. It's disappointing, but when you're like a character that's just not into playing and just into idling, it's like, what can you do? It'd be cool if we could like ghost around the map or something like that, but it seems like we're just literally stuck with an idler, which is a punishment in itself. I think we'll get the fun of them coming from the far left and they'll just shoot our player, or maybe the time will run out. Like, I'm kind of surprised that they haven't already realized that this character's not even playing. It'd be cool if we could vote to kick this player and get them out of this match or something. Think they're gonna come and actually knock him out? Here we go. Thanks for finishing off. I literally called it though, that far left. You can always see it when the people are idling. Like, seriously, like, what else are you doing other than playing the match?
Let's see what happens.
Like, back out and other people can, like, join in progress and stuff. Ugh. Oh, and I like that there's kind of, like, a lot going on in the UI, but it's still not anything that feels, like, overwhelming. It just kind of gives you a lot of sort of stats and stuff going on, which is fun, and, you know, like, a pretty clean UI setup, and it's got, like, a quirky style to it, and I don't know, it's kind of fun and enjoyable. That's the big thing, is I'm having a good time playing this game. I think it's kind of cool. I think it has some, like, pretty fun gameplay to offer. It's definitely something that is, you know, familiar gameplay-wise, but something that does do things a little differently. And I think you can quite enjoy the vibe and the aesthetic and the style going on here. Because it's a little punky, it's a little quirky. There's a lot of similar type shooter games going on at the moment too, but to me this one has the potential because I'm actually having a good time with it, which is kind of nice. There's 3 of them there. I did not stand a chance. Usually you don't get that kind of push that fast. Yeah, well I assume they know one of our guys is idling, so they can probably push a little harder. Just kind of getting the rotten luck here on the Series S. But I'm not surprised when I'm playing on this console. It's kind of funny how that was a good kill. Like, usually I can really use my character's abilities, like setting up turrets and stuff like that, but when you die that fast, it looks like our player that wasn't playing left. Thanks for making 2 rounds in a row rough for our team. Yeah. It makes a big difference whether or not you've actually got, you know, a full roster of players that are actually playing or not. Makes all the difference in the world. Or so they say. But I'm hoping that maybe people check this out, and maybe this one has like a bit of a good chance going for it. Because as I've said, I personally find this to be quite enjoyable. Outside of the realm of here on the Series S, where we're obviously struggling a little bit, which is a surprise to say the least. Well, I mean, it's not a surprise. Like we're down a player and stuff like that, but I do like to win when I can. You get what I mean? It's just a lot more enjoyable. Safety glasses. Fall slower when midair. Doesn't feel like that effective an ability, but I'll put all the cards in. I don't care. It's like, whatever. It's not, again, it's like, it's competitive, but it's also not like ridiculously serious or anything like that. You can kind of have an element of fun with it, which I think is kind of cool. Because there's not, I don't know. There's games like it, there's a few of them out there, but this one really does try to take that extra step of being something different and unique. Being a hero shooter, being a Counter-Strike-like game, being something competitive but yet easygoing. I think that can make it a lot more approachable. for players. Oh, come on.